So we need everybody to come on board and let's do this together. Yeah.
You set up NIMOS, to spearhead the clampdown on illegal miners or Galamseyers. What updates can you give us on the activities of NIMOS so far?
I think NIMOS has been very instrumental in the gains that we are seeing today, in terms of reclaiming our forest reserves, ensuring that we are not having these recalcitrant miscreants going back into making incursions back into the forest reserves that we have declared security zones, providing backup for the blue water guards who are manning the water bodies in the riverine communities and making arrests in areas where we have high incidence of illegal mining activities. Over the last week, we've from Monday to Friday, back to back, every day, the NIMOS team was on the ground across western north areas, making significant arrests. Ghanaians, Chinese, seasoned vehicles, chanfans, excavators, and all of those things. And all of that is helping us to be able to enforce the laws that we have. Today, we have declared forest reserves and water bodies as security zones. What NIMOS has done is be able to map the endemic areas into 21 zones. And we are deploying about 400 trained personnel into these areas. As I speak, the deployment is ongoing. Their logistics are being procured so they can be stationed permanently across these hotspots or these hot zones, that as we call them. So yeah, that's where we are.
So you keep this 400 officers within these areas?
Yes. So for now, we have trained about 400. There will be, as and when we move along and we need to add more, we'll have more personnel.
In terms of upkeep, and isn't it going to cost the state? Have you done those, costing and the rest?
Of course, it's going to cost the state. The level of devastation and degradation that we've seen today is costing us money to reclaim the land. It's going to cost us money to dechemicalize the polluted water bodies. It's going to cost us money to be able to. It's even costing us money to deploy the blue water guards. It's costing us money to deploy the NIMOS personnel in to conduct these raids when they go. It's costing us money to procure vehicles for them, to procure body cams for them to work, so that we can have some form of control measure and monitoring for them. So it's costing us a lot of money. Yes, it's going to cost us money, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. We are where we are, and government needs to take decisive action to be able to clamp down on the issue and to bring it under control. We've seen other countries do it. With illegal mining, I always say it's not peculiar to Ghana. So many other countries also.
But the distraction is peculiar to Ghana.
No, it is not. The distraction is not peculiar to Ghana. It is not peculiar to Ghana. There are other countries that have even. I'm not making a comparison to say we are better off. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying that illegal mining is not peculiar to Ghana. We have seen other countries make successes of that story, and so we also pick learnings from what they have done and to be able to feed into our strategy. So all of that is ongoing, but the point I'm making is, at the end of the day, for us, what we want to see is to see progress. What we want to see is to see our forest green. What we want to see is to see that our waters are turned back to blue, and we have potable drinking water. We have green forests. We are able to breathe fresh air. That is the goal. And so whatever is going to take us, whatever is going to cost, that's what we're putting in. But we shouldn't even be having this conversation. But unfortunately, it is what it is. That is where we are. And so we're putting in everything, and government is taking decisive action to be able to.
Are you under pressure to win this fight? Are you under pressure?
We are under pressure. I would say so. Yes, we are under pressure. Sami, you don't breathe different air from the air that I breathe. All of us are in this together. And so when we say we are in a crisis, when we say that we are at the height of a crisis situation, everybody should be concerned. So yes, we are under pressure. It is not about politics. It's about our livelihood. It's about our lives. It's about our future. It's about posterity. So what are we doing? we are hearing reports of water treatment plants shutting down. We are hearing reports of high incidence of renal diseases. We are hearing reports of high incidence of birth defects and all of that. Cocoa production plummeting. Incidence of mercury-laced food products. That is a crisis situation. So that on its own should put anybody, any well-meaning Ghanaian under pressure to say, what is government doing? What is my stake as a Ghanaian? What can I do to support government to be able to put this to put an end to this? For me, I keep saying that, look, we are not even saying nobody should mine. So it's not even a question of whether we want to stop people from getting access to their livelihoods or not. What we are saying is, if you want to mine, there are better ways to do mining. If you want to mine, there's a legal framework in which you can conduct the mining activity. Mining is a viable commercial activity. It is raking in significant revenue for government, and so government is in support of mining, but it should be done well, it should be done responsibly, it should be done sustainably. We cannot say that because of the gains of a few, all of us should die. That is a crisis situation. So that alone should put us under pressure.
If we are under pressure, as you say, there are many who have advised that the best way to deal with this issue is the declaration of a state of emergency. But then the president, your boss and the rest say that is a no-go area for now.
So when people talk about state of emergency, my question is always, what is a state of emergency? So you declare a state of emergency and then what? What we are saying is there are sustainable ways to be able to bring this under control. And we've seen other places do it. So why can't we do it?
Without the declaration of emergency?
And we have put all the cards on the table. Well, we are not even addressing this with one approach. It's not a blanket thing. There are multiple ways to look at it. From our diagnosis, there's an issue of corruption. There's an issue of lack of access to livelihoods. There's the issue of sometimes even low education or unawareness of the environmental risk and impacts of the activities, of the illegal mining activities. So when you look at all of those things, if you do a diagnosis and you look at all of those issues, and you lack of political will or even low prosecution, for instance, low rates of prosecution. If you look at all of that, and then you want to address all of that, how does a state of emergency, for instance, solve an economic or livelihood problem? So you ask yourself, if access to livelihood or a lack of access to opportunities is a problem, how do I fix that? So you proffer a solution for that. If it's an issue of corruption, how do you solve that? You bring a solution to that. So you look at all of those issues and you bring tangible, workable solutions to that, and you put all of those on the table. But at the end of the day, those solutions also should not work in silos. All of those solutions should fit into one comprehensive plan that makes sense. And that's exactly what we are doing. If you look at our approach today, we're doing stakeholder engagement, where we are saying that we know that there are people who don't even understand the impacts of the mining activities, or the risk that they put themselves in, or the risk they put others in. You provide education for them. We've had situations where some chiefs have come to us to say, oh, okay, now that you people have said this and this and that, I understand, okay, we shouldn't be able to do this. How can I help? Because in my area, we have gold, we have the Galamseyers are working, and we know that they have gold, so I've stopped them from working. Can you provide us with an alternative? Can you provide us with a cooperative mining program that you are introducing? So these are some of the things. We are also talking about regulations. One of the issues that we had also identified when we came in was some people had said the reason why they don't even bother to go and get a mining license, for instance, was because they felt that if they didn't have political connections, for instance, they could not even have access to a mining license. And so how is it that somebody sits in Accra, and I keep using the Limbele, but how is it that somebody sits in Accra and goes to Elembele and say, I have a mining license, and the first time he's actually going to Elembele is when he's holding the license, and you go there and you plot the coordinates, and it's somebody's farm, somebody's cocoa farm. That should not be the case. So how do we improve the regulations and ensure that now this time it is a bottom-up approach. So before a recommendation comes from the District Mining Committee to the Minerals Commission to the minister, the people within the local community have a say. So they can tell you, no, you cannot plot here in concession A or in area A, but you can actually plot in area D because that area is actually out of the outside of the community. So that actually makes sense. So that you don't go and plot, you don't go and get a license for somebody's cocoa farm or somebody's house and come and break it down because you have the mining license. So how do we change all of those regulations? How do we empower the local communities to be able to have a say in the mineral wealth that belongs to them? I am born in a community. I live there. I am bred there. I die there. And then a large-scale mining company comes. They set up their presence and they take all the mineral wealth out of the country, and it goes. And I sit there and I'm left with scraps. And they come and put up an astroturf as a CSR project, or a golf course as a CSR project. In the local community, how does that benefit me? So if I live in that community, then that is where you see you have tensions with the local communities and the large-scale companies and all of that. So then we ask ourselves, with all of that, how do we ensure that the local communities are empowered? The large-scale mining companies, how do we ensure we beef up the local content policy? Are they able to outsource some of their some of the work that they do, contracts to local communities? What percentage of that is going into the community that they are in, they're present in? If they have areas, mineralized areas that they are not using, for instance, Adamos had a pit that had been idle for about 10 years. Because for them it's not commercially viable as a business. But for the local community, that makes sense. Can we take that concession? Can we take that pit and give it to the local community and get the people, put them in cooperatives and get them to mine? The Adamos can provide them with some training, some support, logistics, PPEs, safety, because all of those things come into it. And then the community benefits. At the end of the day, the community can say 20% of the revenue that is coming from that mining cooperative can go into building a school or can go into building a hospital, because that is what the community actually needs. Those are the conversations that we are having. So we are changing the regulations. Then we come to law enforcement. We spoke about NIMOS. There are laws, there are regulations surrounding the mining activity. Who is enforcing those laws? In the past, we've seen Task Force A, Task Force B. It's not about a task force, but it's about having a fully functional operational secretariat with a task force embedded in there. These are security experts. So you have Navy, you have the Ghana Army, you have the Ghana Police, you have NACOPS, you have NIB. All of those security agencies, because these are experts, you bring them together and they have one coordinated unit. So when they go onto the field, they are conducting a raid, for instance, and they get to an area where the kind of weapons, sophisticated weapons that these miners are wielding, or sometimes the thugs that they had to protect them are wielding, whose responsibility is that? That becomes the job of, say, maybe the army. If they are to effect arrests, whose job is that? That's the Ghana Police, who is supposed to follow through with the prosecution. The police, before they even go there, who's supposed to pick up the intel and ensure that they're actually going into the right place, so that when somebody calls the number and says, oh, there's some illegal mining activity here, just because they've seen mining, who is picking up the intel to say, is it actually a legal concession or it's an illegal one? NIB, national security, all of those come in. When they go there and they are seeing hard drugs, whose job is that? NACOPS. So once you're able to bring all of these agencies together as one coordinated unit and they're able to drive, the fight, you have more and better effective results. And then we look at, after all of that is said and done, we know that there's already been degradation, there's already been some damage. So what happens to all of that damage? 5,500 hectares within the forest reserves alone. Out of reserve, we're talking of hundreds of thousands of hectares. So if we have to reclaim all of those lands, what happens to them? There needs to be a program. So that's where you have a Tree for Life program that we have a plan to plant 60 million trees, with 30 million from Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources. Ministry of Environment also has a target of 30 million. So 60 million trees. We are collaborating. What about the water? We are seeing increased stability levels. Our experts say for potable water, we should be 0 to 5. For treatment, maximum permissible limit, it should be it should be about 500 NTU. Today we are recording 5,000 NTU, 12,000 NTU, 20,000 NTU.
Sometimes 50,000.
So what happens to all of that? So then you have an agency, the Environmental Protection Authority, coming in with expertise, with to decchemicalize the water and ensure that the water is turned back to blue, and then we can have it goes back to its pristine conditions. That's while we are doing all of those things. I talked about livelihood. This is an economic problem.
Yeah.
The price of gold keeps skyrocketing, and so it becomes an incentive for people to mine. People want to mine. So if they are in the community and they want to mine, of course, because they know that there's mineral wealth in the land belongs to them. That is where they are born. It belongs to their forefathers gave it to them, and they want to mine. Let them mine. But how do they mine? Responsibly, sustainably. So you put them together in cooperatives. You provide a shared processing facility for them. You provide them with oversight. You provide them with training. You formalize the trade for them. And then so that they are not able to smuggle the gold out, and then so that the country loses, you institute an agency.
Yeah.
That's where Gold Board comes in to buy the gold from them. Now,
the same Gold Board we are told is rather increasing the Galamsey, because the localized people, the local people sell it to the Gold Board.
Let me land, and I'll explain. I'll explain something. So you have a Gold Board that is buying the gold from licensed traders. Okay, a lot of the time people say this because they assume small scale is Galamsey. Our explanation of Galamsey is illegal mining. There are large-scale companies that are involved in illegalities. Yeah. Today, as we speak, I talked about regulatory reforms. As we speak, we are auditing large-scale mining licenses. We started with small-scale, and we saw about 900 of them stood possible revocation. We gave a fair opportunity for them. If you have genuine concerns, come and rectify them. A lot of them came. The report was done. It was clean. Well, today where we are, we have about 250 of them that are going to be revoked. Now the exercise is ongoing for large-scale companies. So it is not about illegality does not sit with the small scale alone. Of course, the bulk of it sits with the small scale industry, but we also know that some large scale companies
also
sometimes are involved in some form of illegality, and that is also Galamsey. The essence of Gold Board's presence, or the thinking behind Gold Board, is so that we can buy. We can have a formalized structure that allows us to buy the gold from the small-scale industry. So the small-scale industry, their contribution to our reserves is about 52%. Would you rather all of that goes smuggled out, so that Dubai is reporting a different figure of gold that they have bought from Ghana, and then we are sitting in Ghana and we are reporting a different figure because we don't even know what we are talking about. But when you have a formalized structure that allows us to be able to buy that, then you know where the gold is going to. And in any case, before you sell to Gold Board, you need to have a license.
Yeah.
So if you are a Galamseyer, in quote, where are you getting the license from to sell to Gold Board? Okay,
we have some 5 minutes to go. Let's divert and talk about the Blue Water Guards. Do you pay them well so they are not compromised by Galamseyers?
Yes, they are paid. They are paid well.
You care to tell us how much?
Let me address this. I saw a quote. Somebody had mentioned that the Blue Water Guards are paid 700 cedis. It is not true. And even the president during the meeting with the CSOs had even mentioned that they are paid a gross of about 2,000 Ghana cedis a month. These are young men and women who are recruited from the riverine communities with the major water bodies. Now, their job is basically to serve as frontline first respondents for the riverine command of the Ghana Navy, and then they also get support from NIMOS. They provide awareness to their communities, and if you look at the work that they are doing, it is part of the reasons why we are seeing even improved stability in some of the areas. If you look at the areas that we have seeing the improvement. It's mainly across the areas where the blue water guards are stationed, because they are warding off these people. They are ensuring that our water bodies are clean. Because before we even go into step 2 of decchemicalizing the water, how are we going to be decchemicalizing water when somebody is still putting a chamfan on the water and still destroying the water? You need to allow the water to settle. You need to be sure that there's no activity on the water before you start doing that exercise. And that is what the blue water guards, that is the essence of having the blue water guards, and that's what they're doing. We've also seen even the Ministry of Agric also has benefited from the work that they are doing. Last month or so, we gave about 900 water pumps to the Ministry of Agric, and this was seized from the illegal miners. And of course, we can put that to better use. So why not put that to better use than to destroy them? So we gave them to the Ministry of Agric so that our farmers can use them. The farmers need the water pumps to do their jobs, and the work is ongoing. So basically, that's they are not paid 700 cedis. They are paid way more than that. And I think the incentives are good enough. The president had even mentioned that with the results that we are seeing,
are they getting the results?
Yes, we are getting the results, and the guys are working. I could show you. Every day they are working. Every day they are on the ground, and they send us daily reports of all the things that we are doing. Let's not try and discredit them. These young people are working. They are committed to the work that they are doing, and they are doing the work with passion. The Amenzule is seeing improvement. The beer is seeing FIA is seeing improvement. We are seeing portions of the Ancobra seeing improvement. And these are all areas where these guys are stationed, and they are committed to the job that they are doing. Let's not discredit them. Let's not discourage them. They are doing everything they can. At the end of the day, like I said, you are not breathing different air from the one I am breathing. All of us are in this together. So if people are committed to doing their work, let us encourage them to do their work and do it well.
I'll say a big thank you for your time. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Hopefully we'll win this fight.
We will.
You can assure Ghanaians that we'll win this fight?
We will. We are committed to this.
Is politics affecting this
fight?
Politics
always affects everything. Politics affects everything. I will not sit here and politics affects everything. But the beautiful thing is that our president has a strong political will, and he has said it. He doesn't want any appointee engaged in this. And when we met with Naimos and Sunyani after their training, the minister was clear to them: you will take no obstructionist instruction from any big man. The biggest man here, the first man of the land, is the president, and he's the one who's asked you to go do this job. And the president is not going to ask you and come and call you and say, I know you've arrested this person, but you see he's wearing party color A or party color B, so release that person. No.
Are chiefs frustrating your fights?
Some of them are.
Some chiefs are?
Some of them are, but you see, the law is going to take its course. In as much as we respect the chiefs, in as much as we revere them, and we've had lots of conversations with the chiefs. They are one of the first people that right from the beginning we started engaging. Western Regional House of Chiefs, Northern Regional House of Chiefs, all of that, the Tumfor and all of those things. We have engaged several chiefs, and we keep engaging them. We are saying that if you are a chief and you are found complicit, the law will take its course. The law is the law. Is the law.
Mercy, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Mawusi Mawunyefia is the Director of Communications for the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources. My guest tonight on Point Blank. And this is where we end today's edition of Eyewitness News. That came to you live from our studio here in Accra. My name is Sami Wiafi. Earlier you heard a Jubi Wiafi show produced by Beverly London and Kwabna Wilson, technical assistant Daniel Squashi. So we'll come your way again tomorrow. May the good Lord be with us all.